Hey guys, we are here all the way from Sweden. Not me.
No,
you,
me.
all the way from Sweden. Mrs. Amanda Larson, which is super exciting that she's here. She'll probably be visiting us a couple times a year here in Denver. And today we are gonna show you the 3 wrong exercises or wrong things that you're doing for glutes that you might think are the right things for glutes. And she's got a bunch of cool stuff that she's gonna show you. So anything else you wanna tell them?
Yes. Well, who hasn't done the 30-day squat challenge?
I haven't done it.
Oh, you haven't?
I haven't
Well,
done it.
maybe we should do it.
Is that why I don't got a butt?
No, I promise you won't get a butt by doing the squats. Like, I think it's like 100 reps a day for 30 days.
Oh yeah? No, I haven't done that.
No, they did it like, it was a couple years ago, but yeah. For you girls who did it, like, did it work really? I don't know.
Okay, figure it out.
Let's figure it out.
This is, let's go to work.
Yeah.
All right guys, tip number 1 is something that is most commonly overlooked, which is how you're set up to do exercises to build the booty. So a lot of people don't think about this. Let's go ahead and think about this scientifically and anatomically, and let's go ahead and look at Amanda. And now one of the things that people don't understand is in our daily life, you sit in a chair like more times than not, especially now. So if I'm gonna mimic that, I'm sitting like this all the time, like even when I'm sitting in a car or just sitting at home or whatever. And especially competitors, like bikini competitors, are taught to arch their back. So when you do that, this muscle here, it's called the psoas, it's tightened quite a bit. So the example would be like if I were flexing my bicep all day long, my bicep would be tighter than my tricep, because when I'm like this, my tricep is stretched. So the same thing applies to your psoas and your glutes. Because they're opposing muscle groups, whenever I'm like this, my glutes are stretched, which over time will create inactivity. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stretch her psoas to line her up better so she can contract optimally. Okay, so if you have tight psoas and you're trying to do exercises like glute exercises, we'll think of it as the bicep tricep example, right? So let's say you're this tight when you start exercise, but then when you're contracting your glutes, so this is your glutes in the example and this is your psoas in the example. So let's say in your exercise you're only getting to this range of motion of contraction, well then you wouldn't be contracting your glutes all the way like if you were like this. And that happens with a lot of people and they don't think they're doing it, but they'll only go to about here because the psoas is too tight. So once we relax that muscle and stretch it out, then you can get full contractions on the glutes. So first part is make sure you're set up to do proper glute training. So let's go ahead and show you the exercises, the stretches to do it. This is called the Soma Stretch. Now remember what we're talking about, we call this thing lower cross syndrome. So what happens is, put this arm up, most bikini competitors, their glutes are arched, their lower back is too arched. So what happens here? This muscle is tight, this muscle is tight, this muscle is stretched, this muscle is stretched, okay? So it's a cross. So loose, loose, tight, tight. So now what we need to do is get this stretched, stretched, strengthened, strengthened. And that's the only way we're gonna contract optimally. So first thing we do is we stretch out the psoas. We go into a psoas stretch, right foot back. Now here's the important part on the footwork on this. Your body is always gonna try to take the path of least resistance. So you're going to put this foot straight like that. A lot of times you're gonna do this, people will go like this and turn their foot like this because it's easier to do. So we're gonna turn the foot this way. And then she's going to shove her hips forward. When she does this, she'll shove her hips forward, grab her right hand, yep, just like that. Grab her right hand in the air and then lean back, kind of like this. There we go. And she should feel that all through here. So there's 2 ways of doing this. This is really one good way. Now when you're here, you can also squeeze the glute, and that'll help stretch it even more, okay? You can also do this with one knee on the floor, kind of like this. The same exact thing. Some people feel like they can get a better stretch when they twist into it like that and just shove back. So you can do it leaning forward, you can do it leaning kind of the side. The goal is you should feel some pretty decent discomfort there to stretch that out. Then we have to stretch the lower back. So we're gonna go into a runner stretch for the lower back. So go ahead and if you wanna go down to the floor. All right, so now we're gonna go into the runner stretch. And basically what the runner stretch is she's going to, you go ahead and go for it. Good. And with this stretch, she's stretching her lower back which is priming the muscles to start being able to be contracted the best way, because now all the tight muscles that were keeping her from contracting the right way are loose enough to let her contract. And for our bikini audience, Amanda, how often should you be doing these types of stretches?
Well, so I prefer to do them like before every glute workout that I do, and I try to do like 2 sets on each side for like 30 seconds to 1 minute. So now that we stretch, time for hip thrusts. One of the reasons that I came here was actually because Adam is doing a lot of like science-based technology, and to make sure that we're doing all the exercises right, to make sure that we're incorporating right muscle groups, and yeah, make the best out of it.
Yeah, so some of the point of us being here and her coming all the way down here is to just basically optimize the workout. So we're using these sensors here. If you see it glowing, we're actually gonna put that on her glutes so you guys can see what happens the way that she contracts, and also so she can learn how to contract optimally for herself. So we're gonna show you some do's and don'ts in doing the hip thrusts, and you're actually gonna be able to visually see how she's contracting, which is really cool. So I'll put this on her right upper glute, and then right upper glute, and then we'll put one on her lower glute. Okay, so one of them is on her tie-in now, which is what every girl wants, is that lower glute tie-in when they're doing bikini competitions, and one is on the upper glute, which is what the girls want, this upper rounding part of it. So now we can see how she's contracting with the hip thrust using science to tell us what she needs to change and what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. So go ahead and go into it.
Okej, kan du ge mig stången, Adam?
Ja, det kan jag.
Kan du hänga på 12 kilo här, Adam?
Jag löser det.
So one of the most common things that I see in the gyms when people are doing hip thrusts is that they are arching rather than tucking in the hips that Adam showed us in the stretching, for example. So you gotta think the same thing here, to have your hips tucked in rather than arching your back. So I'm gonna show you.
Okay, so this way is the incorrect way, where she's arching her back too much. You can see her contractions. They're okay when she's doing this. There's not much going on, especially at the bottom range. Not too much. And now let's go ahead and correct it. Now the back is not arched. The back is kind of swayed, so it's kind of tucked under. So she's getting optimal contractions. And look at how much more she's contracting, doing it the right way than the wrong way. Now she's also not touching the bar at the bottom, so she's not reaching a point of no tension. And that's why she's getting constant readings on this. And you can just see that lower glute, how much it's contracting. That's the one that every girl wants. Upper glute too. So are there any tips that you want to give maybe someone who does hip thrusts that you do that have really worked for you?
Yeah, so one thing to help you prevent not to arch is basically to tuck your chin in and have your eyes forward, rather than have your eyes up in the roof, as you saw in the previous clip. Yeah, that's it basically. And also, like, really think of the muscles that you're working with to really get the greatest contact you can.
Now we're going to go into squats and why you should or shouldn't do them. Now, squats are a great exercise. I'm not going to knock squats, but squats are not a booty exercise, okay? And I'll say it again, squats are not a booty squat.
Booty squat? What's that?
A booty squat? I don't know. That's why
the
squats.
newest thing.
So booty squats. Next video, subscribe and like. So, all right. So squats are not like designed for glutes. Okay, squats are great for the quads, and pretty much that's what they're great for. Honestly, is a lot of quads. You will use a little bit of the glutes, but only at partial ranges. So we're going to explain to you why you should or shouldn't do squats. Right now. So go ahead and face that way. Here's the thing about muscle fibers and how you're doing exercise. So if you look at, actually, this is a good example right here. Maybe you guys can't see that, but it's these strings kind of go this way. Okay. Now imagine these strings are on her glutes. They go that way. Okay. So her muscle fibers are going that way, right? So which means that any load would have to go this way for it to be contracted. So think about the bicep. So the bicep here, the muscle fibers go up and down. And how do I lift a weight with the bicep? I lift it up and down, just like with the muscle fibers. Now, with the squat, when the muscle fibers are facing this way, but the weight is going this way, how do you think she's going to contract the glutes? Well, she's not going to contract the glutes because they're going in opposite directions of the weight. Now, when she squats all the way down, go ahead and squat all the way down. Now that the hips are turned downward, now the muscle fibers are slightly facing upward. That's the only point in this exercise where glutes are worked. Very, very short range of motion. So now go ahead and go up. Okay, and as she goes up, it dies off. 0 again, 200s again, very low. Okay, go down again. Okay, now they start coming in, and now she pushes up. You'll see them pop for a second, and then go out, go back down. Okay, so now you can see it visually how little the squat's gonna do for the glutes. Go ahead and come up, just right there, just in this range. Okay, so that's why this is not the best builder for glutes. Great exercise for quads. If we had a sensor on her quads, you'd see it firing up the whole time, but not a great exercise for glutes.
No, so you should not do it 100 reps, 30 days in a row. The squat challenge doesn't work.
I don't know, I don't see the point scientifically of it, so. All right, so let's go ahead and do it. All right, so for some of you who do want to do squats and you want to build your quads too, no problem at all, go for it. It's not an exercise that's going to hurt you. Still an awesome exercise, just not specific to the glutes. But there is ways to get maybe more glutes to contract throughout the exercise. Do you have any tips for the viewers?
Yeah, definitely. So I try to push through the, how do you say, hälen?
Like the heel of your foot. Heel of your foot,
okay.
Yeah. So pushing through the heel of your foot, especially at that bottom range and really squeezing would be a big help of it, but still not a glute exercise specifically. Mm-hmm. So a couple other ways that you can get more glute out of your squat, we're gonna go into right now. She's gonna show us a different variation of the squat to actually get more glutes contracted, because remember, at the bottom range is where all the glutes happen. So let's go ahead and see it. Okay, and then what do you have for the viewers on this one?
Well, so it's basically coming down to 90 degrees and do, how do you say, like, impulse?
Oh, pulse. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Pulse is the same word, that's funny.
do a pulse, basically. So come down, 90 degrees, pulse, push through the heels.
And let's do one more so they can see here on the pulse. So see it come up just the bottom range, pulses, glutes, and then she comes up. And then as she goes up, it dies off again. You see, it's very important you guys see that it dies off at that top range. Pulse, glute, and then it dies off at the top range. Okay, so that's why it's not the best glute exercise. Now we're gonna go into another exercise that a lot of people are doing for the booty, which is utfall, which is in Swedish, a lunge. So let's go ahead and see it. The same things apply to a lunge that apply to a squat. Only at the bottom range you're going to say big contractions. It's mainly a quad exercise. Definitely not like a hamstring exercise like some people think it is. So let's go ahead and go for it. So you'll see mainly at that bottom range again is where the glutes come in. But look at how low the tie-in's working here. Almost non-existent. Okay, and as she comes up, she gets a big pulse, and then back down, nothing again. Okay, so not the best exercise for glutes. When we're trying to build a muscle group, it's always about constant time under tension. Exercises like the squat, the lunge, they're not giving the glutes enough time under tension to really do that much for them. It's only a very short period within the range of motion where the glutes are engaged, and even when it is, it's a very small amount of engagement. All right, guys, so bonus round here. Actually really cool about Amanda is that she's one of the only people that have been able to contract the glutes the way that I would like them to contract in an RDL. Almost everyone I've put on sensors before was unable to contract the glutes. So we're gonna have her kind of explain how she is able to do that better than pretty much, for the most part, anyone I've worked with in terms of contracting glutes on an RDL. But for her, it's a little hard for her in English to pick the right words, so she's gonna go ahead and explain it in Swedish, and I'll let you guys know. Translate.
Yes. När jag gör raka marklyft så försöker jag tänka på ett visst sätt för att försöka att få mina tie-ins och få en bättre kontakt i dem helt enkelt. På det sättet, eller det jag tänker när jag gör det är helt enkelt att när jag skjuter bak höften så försöker jag rotera in knäna nästan och på så vis också försöka att få sittbenen att peka utåt. Så in med knäna och peka ut med sittbenen. Och när jag går tillbaka sen, när jag ska upp, så roterar jag ut knäna och kommer in med sittbenen och squeezar rumpan i toppläget. Så det är så jag tänker.
So basically what she's saying is when she's going down into the RDL position and she comes down, she's actually kind of like turning her, she thinks of it as like her hip bones by putting her feet kind of outwards. So pointing her feet, like if you were to look at my toes, she's not actually doing this, but she's kind of putting pressure like this. On the way down, putting pressure, and on the way up, she's putting pressure like this, but all internally. She's not actually shifting her feet. So if you see her, you wouldn't see her doing it because she comes down and then she comes up, and that's how she's doing it, and she's sitting into the actual RDL itself. So maybe you can show them a couple reps.
Yeah, sure.
And you can see she's contracting really well in that upper glute here. The lower glute as well, the tie-in, that's a lot more than almost everyone has been able to get out of contractions. And that's just all because of the mind-muscle connection and how she's squeezing. So that has so much to do with it, more so than load, way more than load does. So do you have any other tips that you want to give the viewers when they're doing an RDL since you're able to contract so well?
Försök bara se nu om han förstår svenska överhuvudtaget eller inte. Alltså.
So what she's saying is that when she does this, she actually is shoving her heels in too and then pushing at the end range, like squeezing her glutes all the way forward. No, that's not what you're saying? I don't speak Swedish at all.
What?
Thanks for watching, guys. I hope that you learned a couple of tricks and tips of what you should and what you shouldn't do. If you have anything that you want to add or want to see in the next video, leave it in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Follow her channel. She's starting to do her channel in English now, which is really cool.
Yes, and he's in Swedish now, so.
100%. Thanks for watching, guys. See you
you.
later.